dividing real numbers. So that's the title for our notes, multiplying and dividing real numbers. Our objective for today, I can multiply and divide real numbers. Let's read it together. 1, 2, 3. I can multiply and divide real numbers. So by now you should know what the concept is, right? Think about it. What is our concept for today? Think about it. Tell your neighbor, please. Real numbers. And what are we doing with them? Multiplying and dividing. So copy that at the bottom left of your notes, please. Okay? All right? At the bottom left, the objective, where it says objective. Okay. Next, here we go. Now, I gave you a Cornell note with a Freire model, and you're saying, Mr. Q, I thought we only use Freire model when you introduce a new concept. Yes, but today is a special day. I wanted to see how much you know of real numbers, since we've been looking at real numbers for the past week. So without looking at your notes, I want you to fill in your Freire model. So your Freire model looks like this. Is that correct? So what goes in the center? Real numbers. So write that in. You are not to use your notes. I want to see what you know. So imagine this is a quiz. Oh, my bad. So now we're going to call them parties, okay? So imagine this is a party. And I want to see how much you know. So fill this in, please. You have 2 minutes. Go. Okay, let's see how well you did. Real numbers. Real numbers are the set of all numbers that can be represented on the real number line. Hanson, you got something similar to that, okay? Examples. The examples that I gave you were any number that you can think of that goes on the number line. There it is. However, non-example is a specific one, and I remember I said these have a specific name. They're called imaginary numbers, right? So, well, the most important thing to remember about real numbers, they're found on the real number line. Simple. Remember that? All right. So, fill that in. You got 20 seconds. Now, guys, make sure when we're filling these out, when we introduce a concept, and I'm asking you to write down examples on it, examples, definitions, try, if you didn't memorize it after I repeated it like 23 times in class, make sure you revisit the lesson at home on YouTube, so like that you can hear it again, study it, because what if one of these days I do a pop party and I say, today we're going to do a party on vocabulary? How would you have done it, like if this was an actual quiz? Think about it. So that's why you need to really stay focused, stay on top of things, and start making sure you understand what you're talking about. Like, what are real numbers? Don't just memorize stuff without knowing. Everybody with me? Yeah. Okay, underneath your prayer model, write this down. Steps. Steps. Write that down, please. Underneath your prayer model. Steps. And it says, to multiply and divide real numbers, step number 1, identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Step number 1, identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Identify if the result is a positive or negative. Step number 1, identify if the result is a positive or negative. So when we multiply or divide, the first step is identify if the result is a positive or negative. Now, let me see if it happened to you last year. Last year, you took a test or a quiz or you turned in homework, and all of a sudden you got it back because and then you got something marked wrong because you forgot to put a minus on something. Who did that before, right? Most of us did it, right? Guess what? Because when we're doing a lot of computation, we focus more on the computation and we forget about the sign. This year, we're going to flip it over. I want you guys to focus on the sign first. That's why I wrote it on step 1. Then we're going to worry about the computation second. Everybody understand? So that'll take care of all those little, oh, I forgot to write the negative. Oh, I forgot to change it into a positive. So hopefully that'll take care of it, all right? So once again, step number 1, identify if the result is a positive or negative. Underneath that, in parentheses, let's write the rule. How do we do that? How do we identify if the result is positive or negative? If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. And once again, this is for multiplication and division. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. Tell your neighbor the rule. Okay, so once again, here it goes. To multiply and divide real numbers, the first thing is to identify if the result is a positive or negative. How do we know that? Using the rule. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. So if they're not the same sign, what would the result be? Negative. Simple, right? Okay, so once we get the sign out of the way, step 2 is the next easy step, which is to compute the numbers. What does that mean? To multiply or divide. Compute the numbers, multiply or divide. Compute the numbers, multiply or divide. And step 3, simplify. Especially when you have fractions, you need to simplify to lowest terms. Copy that, please. All right, so now that we have our steps down, let's continue. Copy this down, please. Example 1, it says, find the value of each expression, 35 divided by -5, -11 times -4, and -6 times 7. Copy those, please, and we'll work these out together. Go. Thank you. All right, here we go. Everybody look up. Let's do 1A together. So, let's see. Is it division? Yes. So the steps to multiply or divide, step 1, identify if the answer is a positive or negative. So, check this out. So by looking at it, are these the same sign? No. So the answer is a negative. That's the very first thing you should do, because if you leave that till the end, you're going to keep forgetting the sign. Next, let's compute this. 35 divided by 5. How many times does 5 fit into 35? 7, so that's 35. Subtract, that's 0, so the answer is -7. See how simple that was? Okay, let's do the next one. First things first, identify if the answer is a positive or negative. Are they the same sign? So the answer is positive. 11 times 4, that's 44. Let's do this one. Are these the same sign? No. The answer is negative. 6 times 7, 42. Okay? Piece of cake? Copy this next one. Example 2. Example 2. Okay? Here we go. Example 2. It says, find the value of each expression. A is 1/2 times -10, and B is -48 over -4. Copy both of them, but I want you to do B. Wait for me so we can do A together. Okay? Go. Right, here we go. So let's go over 2B. By looking at it, are they the same sign? Yeah, so it's a positive. So this is 48 divided by 4. If it's in there 1, subtract, that's 0. 8 twice, that's 8. Subtract, that's 0. So this is 12. Hands if you got that? Okay, good. Now, A, let's do this one together. First things first. From this point forward, anytime you see a whole number and a fraction, if you're multiplying or dividing, when you see a fraction and a whole number, I want you to write the whole number over 1. Everybody with me? And that's going to make us avoid mistakes when we do computation pretty fast. Okay? So here we go. So let's write a note for ourselves on the side. Draw an asterisk. Let's draw a heart so we can remember. And then write, when multiplying or dividing by a fraction and whole number, comma, write the whole number over 1. Okay? And then afterwards, just follow the 3 basic steps that we wrote. Okay? So let's see. First things first. Let's look at these. Are they the same sign? No. So then this will be a negative. And then all we have to do is multiply. 1 times 10. So numerator times numerator. 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2. Step number 3 is to simplify. Can we simplify this a little bit more? Yeah, so this is negative 5. Piece of cake, right? All right. But what I'm trying to get to is that I want you guys to get used to getting the sign done at the beginning of your computation. Okay? Don't do the computation first, because then little by little you're going to start forgetting. Do another one. Example number 3. Yes? Yeah, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Yeah. Okay? Example number 3. Here we go. Do that one by yourself. It says find the value of each expression, and it's negative 3 times 2/3. You got 15 seconds. So. Okay, let's see. So, first things first. Are they the same sign? No, so the answer is going to be a negative. We write this over 1, and then 3 times 2, that's 6. 1 times 3 is 3, and this is negative 6 divided by 3 is 2. Hands if you got that. Okay? Okay, here we go. So, guys, eyes up here. If you're making mistakes by doing the division like that, straight from here to here, I want you to write it out. If you're still making mistakes, so write it out. 6 divided by 3, so you can actually see it. Okay? All right, example number 4. Here we go. Example 4. Copy this one. Oh, before we get to example 4, pens down really quick. All right. Everybody look up, please. Pens down. Writing utensils down. So, quick recap. Last year you were introduced to reciprocals. Is that correct? Okay. The definition says 2 numbers are reciprocal if their product is 1. Product is 1. Oops, sorry. There you go. So what does that mean? That if the 2 numbers multiply to give me an answer of a 1, then they are reciprocal. So let me give you an example. Everybody look up, please. Let's say I wrote the number 2/3. Okay. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. Why? Because if we multiply this, 2 times 3, that's 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and that is 1. So far, so good? So these are reciprocal because the product means if we multiply, the answer is a 1. Let me give you another example. How about if I said negative 4 over 7. The reciprocal would be negative 7 over 4. Why? Because, check this out, are they the same sign? Yes, so the answer is positive. So 7 times 4, that's 28 over 28, which is also a what? So far, so good? Yes? No, that's what I want you to, for right now, I want you to do the entire process. What I'm trying to do, guys, I'm trying to get rid of a lot of misconceptions. Some of you are carrying some, what I'm saying, you're carrying some mistakes in your brain that I'm trying to clear. I want you to keep straight your multiplication. So multiplying straight like this, straight like this, straight like this, straight like this. Cross multiplication only works in proportions. We'll get to those later on. And that's what I'm trying to clear, okay? So any questions with reciprocals? Next, what if I gave you the number, check this out, the number 23, okay? To find the reciprocal, first of all, I need to make this into a fraction, which is what? 23 over 1. Any whole number is a fraction by writing it over 1. So the reciprocal of this one would be 1 over 23. So this becomes 23 over 23, which is 1. So far, so good? Questions, comments with reciprocals? Okay, so think about it. Let's say your BFF walked in and they missed the whole reciprocal talk that we had right now. What would you tell them a reciprocal is? Think about it. What would you say in regards to a reciprocal? You turn and you tell them, a reciprocal is, okay, tell your neighbor what a reciprocal is. Okay? All right, now that you have your statement in your brain and that you just said it to your neighbor, right? I want you to write it on your paper. Write reciprocal. And I want you to write your definition in your own words since you already have it, right? Write your definition and write one of these examples down so that at least you have an example of what a reciprocal is. Okay? So you said a reciprocal is, and then you told your BFF, oh, it's the, and then write it in there. As long as it makes sense and you remember. Okay? This is a proper definition. Two reciprocals is if their product is 1. That's the proper one. But I want you to remember yours. Okay? Okay? So the reason I wanted to do it like that because usually the book, yes, we have a lot of words, but unless I see it, like this is me. If I see it and I can understand it by telling it to somebody, that means that I understood it. Does that make sense? However, if you just copy stuff, how does that tell me if you understood it or not? Not really, right? So check this out. Your book introduces it like this. They give you numbers and an example also with algebra, which is using variables. Okay? But it's the same thing as what I just explained. All right? So with that said, on your paper, write example number 4. Example number 4. Okay? All right. So now, for example number 4, I'm going to give you a division. Now, check this out. A division would be like this. Would be like this. Like this. All right, here we go. Check this out. 2/3 divided by 3/4. Don't write this down, just pay attention. Here we go. In the past, your teachers told you, keep the first one the same, change to multiplication, and flip. Who's heard of that? Keep, change, flip. That's from elementary, right? Okay. However, why do we do that? Remember, this is the year of the what? Okay. So let me explain it really quick. Okay, here it goes. Why do we actually change it to multiplication and flip the second? Here it goes. Everybody look up, please. Here's the proper definition of rationals or quotients. Okay? And you're saying, oh, snap, here we go. Yes. That's a definition. Okay, here it goes. Let me read it to you. The Q stands for Quintanilla, of course. It also stands for quotients, and it's a symbol for rationals. Rational. What are rationals? It's representing a quotient. So check this out. Quotient. A quotient is the result of a division. If we look up to the screen, please. So here's a fraction. Do you see the fraction here? So let me read this out. This says the Z stands for integers. We know what integers are. They are whole numbers and their opposites. So this says quotient is the set of all fractions where m is an integer and n is an integer. Is everybody following so far? Here it goes again. Quotient, the set, which means all the fractions you can think of where m is an integer and n is an integer. However, n cannot be 0, or the denominator cannot be 0. Are we there so far? So what this is saying is this. A fraction could be this. 2/3. Is 2 an integer? Is 3 an integer? Yes, it is. Okay? However, could I have 2/0? No, because the definition says n cannot be 0. Also, we cannot have this. Watch. 1/2 divided by 3/4. Right? We can't have this because the definition says that this has to be a what? Integer and integer. So far so good? All right, so check this out. Let me show you how it looks with numbers. Let's say I give you 1 3/4 divided by 1/2. Don't copy this, just pay attention. So therefore, this is the same as saying 1 3/4, pay attention please, over 1/2. However, can we have fractions over fractions? No, why not? Because according to the definition, they need to be integers. Is that correct? So check this out. I'm going to make this an integer. I'm thinking of an integer. The easiest one to think of is 1. What number can I multiply 1/2 to give me 1? Think about it. Who was thinking 2 and 1? 2/1. That's the called what? Reciprocal. And whatever we multiply this by, we need to multiply this by. So check this out. I just transformed this into this. Did everybody see that? Why? Because the definition says we cannot have fractions over fractions, and that's how we say we need to change this by multiplying times the reciprocal. Now you know. Okay? I just wanted to formally introduce it. I know for right now some of you are like, oh man, that's a lot of symbols for right now. I'll just move forward. Check this out. Copy this one down. Example 4. It says divide negative 1/2 divided by negative 5/6. 5/6. Do this one together. First things first. Are they the same sign? Yeah, so the answer is positive. Okay? First fraction stays the same, negative 1/2. Change the division into multiplication. And what is the reciprocal of the second? Negative 6/5. Now that we have it in multiplication form, we just multiply it across like this. This is 6/10, and it's positive. Last step is to simplify. Can we simplify to lowest terms? Divide by 2, so that is 3/5. Piece of cake? Notice that all this you already did in the past years, right? But what I'm trying to clarify today is that you do your symbol first, and then you do your computation. Everybody with me? All right, let's do another one. Example 5. Copy this one. It says divide 8/9 divided by negative 2 2/3. Okay, let's do this one together. First, get the signs. Are they the same sign? No, so our answer is going to be a negative. Write it out, please, so you won't forget. First fraction stays the same. Change the division to multiplication. And you're saying, wait a minute, how do I flip this? We need to make it into an improper fraction. So 3 times 2 is plus 2. 8 over 3, and it's a negative. So what is the reciprocal of negative 8 over 3? Negative 3 over 8. So therefore, this is negative 24 over 72. Okay? And last step, simplify to lowest terms. What do we divide by? Okay, divide by 12, so we end up with negative 2 over 6. Can we simplify a little bit more? Negative 1 over 3. Yes. Oh, divide by 12. I did that if you were paying attention. All right, example number, yeah. 3 over 8. It was 8 over 3. What is the reciprocal? Don't we just flip it? Okay. Example number 6. Example number 6. Do that one by yourself. Go. You got 20 seconds. Divide. Negative 3/4 divided by negative 9. By now you should be able to do these like no problem. Go. Okay. Are they the same sign? Yes. This one stays the same. Negative 3/4. Change it to multiplication. Write this over 1. And what is the reciprocal of negative 9 over 1? Negative 1 over 9. This becomes 3 over 36. And we can simplify that to 1 over 12. Okay? Homework is found on page 23. Michael Jordan. Do numbers 1 through 23 all. Now check this out. Your attention. Make sure you read the part where they talk about properties of 0. Fairly simple. I just need you to read that so that you understand at least 4 problems from the homework. Yes? All right, have a good one, guys. Enjoy your homework. I'll see you guys tomorrow.